Garrett Armfield faces Brady Heastand on this weekend's UFC Fight Night card. And this is a guy you've had your eye on for some time. I heard you mention before this fight was even made that Brady Heastand was a guy you wanted to face.
Yeah. I got a pretty good story for that one actually. Um, with like how that fight came to be. I did call him out on a couple of interviews. Like we were talking about before the interview started, was how like I was asking a couple months ago, asking all these people for interviews on Twitter, and they would be like, "Who do you want to fight? Who do you want to fight?" And I said either Marcus McGee because that'd be a killer matchup, or Brady Heinstein because I like the matchup a lot. Um, and I saw Brady. I was in Vegas March 20th for Trey Ogden and Miles Johns' last fight, and Brady was in the sauna, and I walked in, and I already texted my manager that I wanted to fight Brady, and I walked into the sauna, and he was in there, and I was like, "Oh, what's up, Brady? Like, how's it going, man?" And I was like, "I saw on Twitter that you said you would be down to fight me," and I was like, "I think it'd be awesome to fight you." And he's like, "We should do this," and he's like, "Yeah." And the next freaking morning, I'm sitting there, I'm eating my cereal, and I'm watching film because I've never even seen him fight, and I was like, "Oh yeah, let's just see what I'm getting into," you know? And I get a text from my manager, "Hey, do you want to fight Brady?" as I'm watching his tape. And so I was like, oh, hell yeah, no brainer, yes, right away. So
And the reason you
yeah,
wanted to face him was because people on social media were saying it would be a good fight.
yeah, pretty much. I'll fight whoever. Doesn't matter. It don't matter. I'll fight anybody, everybody. Uh, you know, like I come to this sport to be the best in the world, and like I can't. I'm not gonna say no to matchups. So like that's my mindset is like now that I'm in the highest organization and I'm on my second contract now and whatnot, like there should be a fight. There should not be a fight I should say no to. If I really believe I'm the best in the world, then I'm the best in the world, and I have to fight the best in the world.
You fought earlier this year in Toronto. It would be better if they stopped matching you up with Canadians because we don't want to see you beat all of our guys. But
Hey,
great.
Brady's almost a Canadian.
That's true. He's
He's
near the
from
border. That's true.
Washington.
He's
Yeah,
like
he's
a
near the
pseudo
border.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Now, Brad, he fought this past weekend. Got back in the win column, which is good for him. I think also good for you because it reflects well on makes the win age a little bit better. But what was your experience like in Toronto?
Actually, Miles went with me for that trip, and it was awesome. Like it was 0 degrees, which sucked, but Toronto was a beautiful city, extremely diverse. We got some good shopping done, and we got a sick Airbnb. So Toronto was an awesome experience, and especially for the fight. Um, I feel like that's another thing going back to with Trey and what we do so well is that we don't fight to their game plan, like our opponent's game plan. We fight to our game plan. So like, I don't watch a lot of tape. I watch my guy like twice, and then I let Trey watch it and let him take notes. But after that, like we just got to stick to what we're good at and what works, and then just like be wary of what they're gonna do and have a game plan around it. But I believe that if you game plan too much and like you don't want to fight their fight, you want to fight your fight 100% of the time. And I feel like that's what I did very well against Brad. And as you saw in this last fight of Brad this past weekend, he was extremely dominant. And so I think that just goes to show how skillful I am and how I can be one of the best fighters in the world.
I see that you've done a really good job of utilizing social media. You're on X quite frequently, and pretty. I'd say in terms of the fighters that are on the platform, you're pretty consistent in terms of your posting, and same with on Instagram. So, how have you enjoyed that facet of the game? Is talking with the
Yeah,
fans
yeah.
and being a little bit more interactive?
I stopped caring so much about what content I was producing, and that helped out a lot. So I used to overthink all my content all the time. I'd be like, "Oh, it has to be the perfect thing," and now I'm like, "Well, someone's gonna view it for 6 seconds at the most. They're not gonna care. I might as well just put out some maybe funny, then some fighting stuff, and just try to get out as much as I can." And I think it really did help with like my exposure and growth as a fighter on like the social media side. And then as for X, now I've talked about this in previous interviews as why I like to utilize Twitter so much, or X or whatever it may be called. Um, and that's because as fighters, we literally get a combined, if we fight 3 times a year and win, we get a combined like 4 minutes on the mic a year. And so we have to fill that void with like our personality, and Twitter or X is like the easiest way. I just got to type up what I'm freaking thinking and send it out there, and it gets blasted to millions of people if you're, if it gets out there, whatever. And so that's like the easiest way to get my personality out to people. You know, I feel like it's almost easier to type something. It's like keyboard warriors and like keyboard bullies and MMA bullies and on Twitter. It's way easier to type shit on the computer than actually go out onto the like talk, I guess, on the mic or whatever it may be. It's skills that we need to build both of them as, but um, I think everybody needs to utilize X more, you know?
Yeah, I think that it certainly helps for the fighters to connect with the fans. I think that that's kind of a thing that's missing is that the connection between the fighters and the fans. You know, the fans are often critical for whatever reason, but I think that once you connect with them kind of on a one-on-one level, they'll soften up a little bit.
They do soften up. Oh, yeah, completely. Um, or like every single time somebody's got negative to say about me, I'll just be like, hey, have a good day. Like, I'll just say, I'll reply to those people too. Like, let them know, like, hey, I see it. I'm hearing you. Um, and I most of the time, probably 99% of the time, uh, will get like a positive response back. Be like, oh, I'm just kidding, man. You're a great fighter. Good luck this weekend. You know?
Well, one thing I'll say is that the merch game is strong. I like the merch that you've put out. I think, what is it, Dr. Big Head? I think that
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
really, really well designed. And, some fighters are able to put together good merch and come up with good logos and things like that. And most of them aren't. But I will say that the ones that you've put together, very nice if you
Thank
want to
you.
join. Was it the Armfield Army?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Armfield Army. So that's kind of like the hashtag. The whole story behind the Armfield Army thing is that I kept trying to give myself a moniker, give myself a nickname since I was like 18, and I just can't come up with one that's me. And so instead of trying to just name myself, I'm just gonna name my fan base so they have something to unite under. So it's the Armfield Army, so they can join together and like get brands with like their shirt with the name on it, the Armfield Army, and all of those things. And then my merchandise, I just contract that out. Like I paid a guy um, to do all my artwork, and he does a hell of a job. So it's worth the investment, And I'm winning my fights, and so now I'm on a new contract again. So now I'm able to like really start investing in myself and put money to building my brand. Whereas before, whenever I was a regional fighter, just got to the UFC, um, it's a little bit harder. So uh, it helps winning fights.
I, I think that Dr. Big Head might stick. You might want to just own that. If you need a nickname, I like it.
I like it, Dr. Bighead. Yeah,
It's memorable.
yep. People keep calling me Mega Mind, so I've been running with that one too.
All right, I like it. See, we're getting close. We're getting close.
Hey, it's all fun. It's all fun. You can't take life too serious. Or what's that quote? You can't take life so serious, you'll never get out alive.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
yeah, gotta have fun.
Certainly works in this instance, and it's been nice to see your personality come out on social media. And looking forward to seeing what you can do on Saturday yourself against Brady Heastan. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me, Aaron. It was great.